This is an SM Media production. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of Up Go the Heads, the SM Media Scottish Football Podcast. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. Like every other channel in the world, we do steal ideas. I'm going to be honest and say this isn't an exclusive idea to us. This has been one that's been stolen from people like Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley have done this in the past. I am putting together a wee task here for the guys. We are going to do a Scottish Premiership draft. Obviously, it's kind of NFL season. Fantasy drafts are the kind of main thing at the moment. And we're going to do it with the world of Scottish football. And I brought on a dream team to help me do this and kind of put this together and do a wee bit of fun in the show. But all our shows are supposed to be fun, but I think this one could be pretty good. We'll start by going around the panel. This isn't the order of the draft picks, by the way. We'll do that in a wee minute, but going to go around the screen and just introduce everybody. They've all kind of had their appearances on the show and podcast in the past. First of all, it's a pleasure to welcome on Josh McCafferty.
Good to be on. Thank you for having us. I think this should be very fun tonight. See who comes away the winner.
Yep, I'm looking forward to this. And it's a pleasure to welcome back, fresh from his open goal appearance where James McFadden, and I gave him a wee bit of a doing actually, but it was actually quite entertaining, covered himself well. It's a pleasure to welcome Adam Kennedy.
Yeah, thanks very much, Scott. I don't think Faddy was the only one. So yeah, thanks very much for having me back on, and hopefully that's a wee bit easier and a wee bit more of a relaxed environment than open goal.
I'm sure it will be. It always will be. You're always welcome on here, and I won't take the piss out of you. And it's a pleasure to welcome on to the show. I think that's his first appearance, whether he's been on in the past. I think he's dropped his camera there. It's a pleasure to welcome on Alex Banks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a bit of a disaster class. The computers had a bit of a meltdown, but we've got here eventually. So
we have, yeah. It's technology. It's good when it works, but it's very, very bad when it doesn't. I'm just going to go down the rules before we do the draw, just to kind of make everybody aware. I think the three panelists more than anybody before the viewers kind of get an idea. This is the rules of the draft. So we're going to do this. It's going to be obviously an all-star team. So we've got a full kind of every Scottish Premiership player is eligible for this. So we're going to pick our dream team out of all the players available. We'll start by going kind of through the rules. So it's going to be a serpentine order, 1 to 4, 4 to 1. So basically what will happen is we've got a wee ball here. I'll do a wee kind of suit ball. I've got 4 names in here. We'll pick the members, pick who goes first, who goes second, third, fourth, and they'll obviously pick their formations. It could be 4 different formations, so they're going to be off the cuff. Basically, all that's going to happen is whoever picks first, obviously, goes 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first round, and then second round and so on. It goes 4, 3, 2, 1. So whoever picks last will get the first pick in the second round, and vice versa. So it will be a bit entertaining. Each player has to pick a different formation, as I said. So, for example, the first person, if they pick a 4-3-3, the other person can't do that. But I still think we'll kind of go for the same formation in different ways anyway. But yeah, you can only pick a maximum of 3 players from one team. So once you've used 3 Celtic players, Josh, you can't pick any more. All right.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
So you're all allowed 3 players from one team, obviously. So well, we better kind of change in our different teams. Like you'll be able to obviously kind of get some kind of star players to kind of play with each other. You'll never see it, but just a wee bit of fun here. You have to pick players who fit their position. So, for example, if you're struggling for a centre back and Leila Bad is still on the table, you can't shoehorn them in and kind of hope it works. So, just like that, obviously, they have to fit their positions. There has to be a degree of realism. Loan players count as players of their own club. So, for example, just kind of off the top of my head, Alex Lowry, obviously on loan from Rangers to Hearts, he counts as a Hearts player from this. So you can pick 3 Rangers players and pick Alex Lowry, for example. So you've obviously got that option. No trades. Once you pick, you can't have a do-over. You can't trade later on in the game. You obviously, once it's your pick, it's your pick. You can't change it. Each player is allowed 1 SPFL non-Premiership wild card. So if you're struggling, if you feel as if the Premierships get not a great deal of talent, you can bring in 1 player from the Championship, League 1 or League 2. You don't absolutely have to, but you can if the option's there if you want. And after the teams have been picked and we've finished this show, the show will go out. We will do a wee vote on X, formerly known as Twitter, and we'll put every team's players up, every team, to see who they put it to the viewers and see who they think is the best team. And it's something we might revisit later on. It's a bit of a fun concept. Josh, I'm going to just go around the panel before we pick the teams. What are you kind of looking for here? If you're Brendan Rodgers kind of idea, what you're looking for here? Are you looking for a kind of star-studded team, or are you looking for a nice balance? What's your kind of preference here?
I think I'm looking for an attacking team.
Okay.
If you're playing football, you want it to be entertaining. You want to get the fans off their seats. So probably an attacking formation, an attacking team, and if we can get in, no budget restrictions at least, so if we can get in as many superstars as we can, then I'm very happy.
Yep, absolutely. Adam, obviously Stephen Naismith has been confirmed as the head coach at Hearts recently. How are you going to kind of emulate your new man? What's your kind of thoughts here?
A team that could win would be a nice start. But yeah, I think we'll go for, I don't know, maybe players. We're looking for value, I suppose, aren't we? Because we're not blessed with an abundance of money. So perhaps players that are underrated and fly under the radar, that could ultimately fit a system and win games.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, similar question to yourself. What are you kind of looking for here? This is the big moment. This is where you could be. I mean, Will Still, perfect example. Football manager, he went on to become a manager in League One. He's been touted for Premier League jobs. This could be your moment. If you pick a team here, you could end up a manager in the Premiership one day. This could be your moment. What are you looking for? What's your selling point?
Yeah. I think I'm looking for the new role of director of football at Rangers, to be honest. So I've got my team here, and if I can get the dream team, I know that's the winner right there. So
that's probably the hardest job in British football at the moment, the director of football at Rangers. You've got a big job in your hands there. Right, let's get into it. Let's start. I've got my wee bowl here. I can trust you. This has not been edited. This has been done. This is legit. If it's me, I apologise, but I've got the 4 names in here. You can see them. I'm going to draw them out. I'm going to show them to the camera. The person getting the first pick it's Adam. Adam gets the first pick in the draft. Adam, what is your formation? What are you going to go with?
I'm going to opt for a 4-2-3-1, please,
4-2-3-1, that's fine. Right, okay. The second pick is me. Very good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go for a kind of different idea. I'm going to go for a 4-3-3. So similar idea to Adam, but obviously eligible for a change. The third pick is going to be Josh.
I'm going to take kind of similar outlook to you guys. I'll go with a 4-1-4-1.
It's fine. And let's hope we've done this right. Fourth pick goes to Alex. Alex, you'll have a wee advantage. You're going to get the first pick in the second round, so you'll have 2 players in your team before anybody else. What's your formation?
Yeah, I'm going to take 3-4-2-1.
3-4-2-1, right? Okay, let me just get that all written down here. Just to go with that. So, Josh, you're going for a 4-1-4-1, did you say?
Yep.
And just remind me again, Alex, what you're going for?
3-4-2-1.
3-4-2-1. That's fine. So the players have to obviously fit your system. Right, Adam, let's get into it. Who is the first pick? Who are you going to go for and why? Who's your main man to kick us off?
I'm going to go, it's a bit boring to start at the back, but I'm going to go for Alistair Johnston at right back.
Wow. Right, okay.
Reason being is I think he's a better defender than Tavernier, and yeah, I just think he's the complete fullback. I think he's a real coup for Celtic, and I think he's one that they'll look to sell on for millions. Not that Josh will want to hear that. Sorry, mate. But I think
Josh will be used to it. Josh will be used to big players leaving Celtic for big money.
Buy low, sell high.
Absolutely. Right, it's my turn. I am going to go for a similar idea to Adam. I'm going to start in my defence. I don't necessarily think he's Celtic's best player, but I think he's the most important, and I think it's a prime example that maybe there was a bit of a dip when he's been injured. I think he's going to be a big miss for the next couple of months. And my first pick at centre-back is going to be Cameron Carter-Vickers. Josh, who's your first pick?
I'm going to keep on with the theme of Celtic players. I think probably anyone would pick him. I think he'll go up front, guaranteed goals. You just know what he's going to bring to a team. So, yep, Kyogo.
It's Kyogo for Josh. Josh, I was going to actually ask you about Kyogo. Like, when you see him, obviously against Rangers last week, maybe not his best game, but comes up with that finish, and that's just what he can do, isn't it?
Definitely, he's got the knack for scoring in big games. Like, I think the first year and a half he was at the club, he'd never scored against Rangers, and it was starting to get a bit of a duck for him, and he eventually broke it in the New Year derby last year, and he's went on to just continually score in derbies now, which is it's only positive for Celtic, and he does it everywhere. I think he'll be eager to get his first Champions League goal this season, and I think he has a good opportunity to do that away at Feyenoord next Tuesday. But yeah, Kyogo, very good player and big game played as well.
Yep, and he's a first selection into Josh's team. Alex, you've got a double bill here. Who is your first and second pick? Give us the first two players to come into the team.
First of all, I'm gonna go similar to yourself, Scott and Adam. I'm gonna start at the back, but I'm gonna start right at the back, and I'm gonna pick my goalkeeper first before anybody takes Jack Butland. I would like him in my goals. I think, as much as it has been a Rangers team that's shipped a few goals so far this season, he has been a bright spark, and we could have conceded a hell of a lot more if it wasn't for him. So yeah, Jack Butland is going to be the first person in my team, and then I think I'm going to have to take an attacking player as well. And I am fearful that they are all going to be missing fairly soon. So rather than letting someone have a bad at centre back, like you said, I'll take him for myself in the right wing position.
You got a Abada?
Yeah.
Leila Abada goes in the right wing position for Alex. Good picks. First two picks are off. All Old Firm players so far. Josh, are we in your second pick? Are you sticking to that? Are you leaning elsewhere?
I think I'm gonna stick to that, and I'm gonna take the Celtic captain Cal McGregor as my one midfielder in my 4-1-4-1. So Cal Max slots in there. You know what he brings? He brings consistency. We said off here. It was Rangers kind of let him. They didn't put a man on him. A lot of teams have done that so far this season. Rangers didn't do it in the derby. And he kicked on from there. He didn't stand out, but he did put in a good performance. And we know what Cal McGregor brings. In my opinion, he's one of the best all-round footballers in Scotland. And yeah, he goes straight into my draft.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick, and I would have probably taken him as well. So you've got him in front of me there. I'm going to stick to my defence. I'm not going with this guy because of his all-round defensive play, but he'll score the penalties. He'll score big goals. I'm going to go for the Rangers captain. I'm going to put James Tavernier into my team. So I'm going with Tavernier to sit next to Carter Vickers in the defence. I just think a big game player. We've seen kind of the past few games. Obviously, I don't think he's been at his best defensively so far this season, but brings so much in an attacking sense. Obviously, comes up with big penalties, free kicks. Scored the goal in PSV that obviously should have got Rangers back into the game, but they give it away kind of later on. But yeah, I just think his importance. I think as well having that kind of leadership. I think Tavernier and Carter Vickers at the back could be pretty good. Adam, you've got the second, and you can start the first of the third round. Who you got?
I'm going to go for Lawrence Shankland in attack.
Oh, you might.
Has to. Because I'm yet to be convinced by any Rangers centre forwards. And yeah, I just love that guy. I'm really pleased that he's not gone for Scotland recently, because then there's no chance of him getting injured, and we need him fully fit from a Hearts perspective. Otherwise, we are snookered.
He's kicked on, isn't he? Obviously, he's always been able to scoring goals, but you've seen his kind of all-round play kind of step up in the past couple of seasons, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd be tempted to take Liam Boyce to kind of match up with him in that number 10 role. Not sure what I'm going to go for here, to be honest. I think
just a question on Shankland. If an offer came in, how much would it need to be before you'd consider it?
It depends who's offering. If it's the Saudis, we can demand ridiculous money, and they might be tempted to pay it. If it's the Saudis, I want 10. If it's anybody else, you're probably talking anywhere between 3 and 5. I think it's a fair evaluation. I don't know. I'm not a chief exec. You need to ask Anne Budge.
Do you think after you're not convinced then by Rangers forwards, do you think that's somebody that we should have gone for?
It depends. I mean, obviously, as a Hearts fan, no, I don't want you covering for Lauren Shankland. But if I was a Rangers fan, I mean, Rangers, both the Old Firm have had a knack of not pinching players from other teams per se, but certainly giving others a chance in a team with more quality. Put it that way. I think like one of Celtic's most influential players has been Scott Brown, who they got for Hibs and was a solid investment for years upon years. So yeah, if I was a Rangers fan, I think that they should have gone for him. Yeah.
Interesting.
In terms of my other pick, Leela on the right. It's not a bad shout, but I'm gonna go for Martin Boyle because obviously Abad is away.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. That could come back to bite me, but we're going for it.
You can't get a trade. You're stuck with your rival. Boyle's a good pick actually. I was kind of leaning towards kind of looking at him as well. Third pick for me. Do I keep going with the defence or do I look towards the attack before they disappear? I'm gonna go in midfield. I'm actually surprised he's still on the board, but I think Josh will agree with me here. I think he's been probably the star of the season so far for Celtic. I think I'm going to put in my midfield Matt O'Reilly. Everybody knows how big a fan I am of Matt O'Reilly, and I think he's the perfect player to sit in my midfield. Josh, was I taking your pick there? Or?
I was leaning towards maybe another Celtic midfielder, but Matthew O'Reilly's absolutely excellent this season. I think he's kicked on massively under Brendan Rodgers in that third man role, running into the box.
We thought he would, wouldn't we? That was one of the things we were kind of thinking. Like he was kind of. I think we've seen for the maybe not the interviews. I don't think necessarily was kind of Ange was the best manager for him in terms of kind of man management. I think that's something Rodgers will really get the best out of him with.
He certainly will. I think he's moulding into a sort of Stuart Armstrong type.
Yeah.
Rodgers' first spell in charge, and he's excelled so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do going forward.
Brilliant. We'll start with Josh. Who's your third pick?
I'm going to start to strengthen my defence. I've not got a defender yet, and I'm going to go with a Rangers defender in Connor Goldson. I know he made that error away at PSV Eindhoven, but I just feel like he's one of the Gers' foremost centre backs, if not the best centre back they have, and he's a goal threat going forward as well. He can nod one in from a corner, so I'm going to pick Connor Goldson at the back.
So Connor Goldson goes third for Josh. Alex, you've got a wee advantage here. You've got the fourth pick in the third round, and then you've got the first pick in the fourth round. Who are you going for?
Yeah, I think it's becoming a bit of a difficult one. I'm gonna put Duke in at left wing, the first non-Old Firm pick. I'm scared. I've got to be careful here because I think he could be taken off the market now that his spots are being filled up. So I think Duke, although he's not been as good as he was last season, so far, is still a phenomenal player who turned it on last season and is one of the main reasons Aberdeen finished third. And then I'm gonna start to strengthen my midfield as well. And it's another player who hasn't started the season as strongly as he finished it, in Nico Raskin, who I just think is probably Rangers' next big sell. It's been a little bit of a slow start. You have to be honest, but he was one of the standouts towards the end of the season. Once he came in January, our midfield was much improved. So
I think he's been one of the players. Like I've kind of thought that. I think he's been one of the players that's kind of suffered from the constant kind of chipping, changing in front of him in the forward line.
Yeah, I also think his passing range is probably one of his weaker spots, and as Rangers are playing maybe a target man at the moment in Dessers and two fast wingers coming off him, he's not got that kind of give and go, and you see him bombing forward himself, making a lot of runs because that's his effort of trying to get Rangers driving forward. As there isn't the same movement that we maybe had in Cholak up front in Dessers, who's a bit more slow and lethargic with things.
So we have Duke and Raskin for Alex. Josh, who's your fourth pick? You've used two Celtic players and a Rangers player. Who are you going for next?
I think I've got a toss up between two non Celtic Rangers players, but I think I'm gonna take that left wing or the left midfield spot, Ellie Yuan of Hibs.
Yeah, you've done it again.
No, I just feel like every time I watch Ellie and he passes the eye test for me. He always looks lively. Quite an exciting player driving towards goal, and they obviously got him in on a permanent deal. He's finished last season very strongly, so yeah, I'm taking Ellie on the left.
So Ellie Yuan goes in fourth. I was leaning towards him. I'm going to go for my first non-Old Firm player. I'm going to go for my midfield again. I've just been really impressed with this guy since he came in loan last season at Aberdeen. They've made the loan permanent. I think he could be a lovely kind of sitter in the midfield, like O'Reilly, and hopefully my next pick can I bomb forward a wee bit. I'm going to go for Leighton Clarkson. And that could be my fourth pick. Adam, you've got the next two picks. Who are you going for?
I can't say I'm too impressed with the options on the left flank, to be honest with you, Scott. But I probably will go for, just so that nobody else can nick him, Dyson Maeda.
Okay.
And might need another defender, but I've got a few people in mind, so do I just go for it up front? I think I probably do. I'm also going to go for Todd Cantwell at the number 10 position.
Okay. So your kind of front line's pretty solid, isn't it? It's kind of made up. You're building from the front anyway, wanting your way back. So Maeda and Cantwell go fourth and fifth for Adam.
Yes.
I have got the fifth pick. And I think I'm going to go for a Rangers forward. And it's one player we maybe haven't seen so far to best effect. But I think this guy, once he gets a wee run under his belt, I think he could be a clinical goal scorer for Rangers. Big money signing this summer. I am going to go for Danilo in the striker position. So that is my fifth pick. Josh, who's next?
I'm going to bring in my third and final Celtic player in the midfield, and I'm going to take Rio Hatate, confirmed to be back this weekend for the boys.
I'm very surprised he went so long.
So yeah, certainly I think he was one of the best players last season in the league. He just kicked on last season and obviously suffered an injury up at Pittodrie a couple of weeks ago, but he's back this weekend, and yeah, he slots in with Cal McGregor to my midfield.
Yep. How well Giant Rodgers will kind of get out of him, because obviously we've seen obviously how good he is, but could he play a different role under Rodgers, do you think?
I think it's an interesting one. Definitely when he was getting dropped for David Turnbull at the beginning of the season, many fans were a bit concerned, but I feel like Hatate's just such a good player. And he's 25 years of age now. He's coming into that stage of his career where he's gonna hit his best years. So I feel like he can do really well under Brendan Rodgers. Him, O'Reilly, and Cal McGregor will probably be Celtic's best midfield three. And he won't play as advanced as O'Reilly, but he'll play that sort of 8 box to box type of role that McGregor played when Brendan was here the first time around, and McGregor will just sit. So yeah, I think Hatate will be another good one this season for Celtic.
Yep, I think that's a good pick. Alex, who have you got in your next two picks?
I since I have 3 of them, I better start working on the centre backs. And first of all, I'm going to take John Souttar as my final Rangers pick.
Okay.
I think having a fully fit John Souttar has just been so good for Rangers, especially in a position where realistically we still need to strengthen. So to have John Souttar available has helped massively, and especially after Ben Davies didn't kick on anywhere near as fast as we needed him to. I still have hope for him, but John Souttar's he's certainly kicked on, and I mean Adam will agree he was a standout for Hearts at the time as well. And I always thought the one that got me was I was quite worried that when he came back from an injury, he might take a few games to get up to speed, as we see with the likes of Kemar Roof. And I remember obviously the Scottish Cup final last season. John Souttar again was a standout for Hearts, and that filled me with a lot of confidence for him joining Rangers. Again, another one who had maybe a slow start, but I think now that he's getting week in week out, I'm quite happy with him being there. And I think I'm struggling here because I know I need to take another Celtic player, but I'm just not convinced by Lagerbielke or Naraki yet.
Okay.
So I am going to go for Robbie Dees.
Okay.
At the moment, I think obviously he's had a good start to life at Kilmarnock. He was Cali Thistle's best player, and they really didn't want to lose him and have. And yeah, I mean, he was a standout against Rangers in the first game. And yeah, they've kept a few clean sheets, obviously, as Hearts and then Celtic. So they have a tough defense, and I think Robbie Dees is somebody that is key at the heart of that.
So you've kind of got your defence kind of kick-started by John Souttar and Robbie Dees. Josh, you've used 3 Celtic players. What's next? Where are you going next?
I'm going to complete my midfield, and I'm going to take my second Rangers player. He's a player who's just coming back from injury at the minute. I'm going to take Tom Lawrence.
Okay.
I really rate Tom Lawrence. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a really good midfielder for Rangers, and he gets back fit, he'll be a big asset. So Tom Lawrence completes my midfield. So him, McGregor, and Hatate in there.
So who sits McGregor?
McGregor sits. Tom Lawrence probably most attacking, and then Rio probably is a box-to-box 8.
Okay, interesting. I am going to go next. I kind of agree with Adam. The winger position does not look great at all. I'm going to do something interesting in the left. I'm going to go for Joe Nubler and a left wing. I think this guy could be maybe not Rangers Celtic level, but I certainly think Hibs Hearts Aberdeen. He could certainly be somewhere like that. I think he could do really well in there. I'm going to go for Joe Nubler in the left wing. Adam, you've got the next 2 picks. I'm looking at your midfield and defence and thinking that's where you need to strengthen.
It's threadbare at the minute, isn't it? Left back, I'm going to take Alex Cochrane.
Okay.
I think he's the most underrated player in the division.
Yeah, I'd follow him with that.
And I need a centre half as well. Alex had said about the Celtic centre halves. I quite like the look of Nawrocki. I think I'm going to take him at the back.
Goes next. I quite like Nawrocki. Josh, what about you? Are you kind of taken by the new centre backs?
I feel like Lagerbielke and Nawrocki was going to be a good partnership, and then obviously Big Mike got his injury. Scales came in, done well in the derby, but I'm really excited to see how Nat Phillips does at the club. I spoke to him yesterday, and he certainly looks like a player who'll look to do well this season. Only 6 months, but yeah, I really look at him coming in from Liverpool.
Yep, I think it could be a good signing as well. Nat Phillips obviously still available in the draft. Right, I've got the next pick again. I think I'd just get my right wing sorted. I'm looking at my centre. I've still got a Rangers player. I've still got a Celtic player I can use. I think I'm going to complete my Rangers list. I'm going to go to play alongside Clarkson and O'Reilly. I'm going to go for a Rangers midfielder who's just come in. I think this guy could be really good. I think we've seen just glimpses of what he can do, Alex. I'm sure you'll agree. I'm going to put in Jose Cifuentes. So my midfield will be Clarkson, Cifuentes, O'Reilly. Alex, what do you think of that pick?
Yeah, I think Cifuentes is a really good player. He's somebody who got me quite excited when we were linked with him, because I kind of watch a few MLS games, especially in the off season. When you're bored, you stick something, whatever's on, and the American game seems to be the one that comes to mind. So I think Cifuentes has maybe had a slow start to Rangers' life, but yeah, we're off form, and he has been thrown in at the deep end when it has, because the PSV ties were really difficult games. They have strengthened from last season, and even then we maybe came out a little bit. I don't want to say lucky, but there was fortunate is maybe a better word. There was a lot of moments where they just needed that final touch, and we were defensively strong, whereas this time, it wasn't so good. But I do have hope for him. I have a lot of hope for Cifuentes. I think he's somebody who should be in Rangers' plans for a few years.
Yep, I think I'm going to be keen to see how he gets on at Rangers. I think it could be a good player. I think my midfield looks really good. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite happy with the balance in there. Josh, who's next? Who you got in the next pick?
I'm going to fill my right back spot, and I'm quite surprised no one's taken him yet. Ryan Strain from St Mirren.
Okay.
I'm quite impressed by him, Australian international, bombing up and down the right for the Paisley Saints. So he slots in at right back.
Interesting. Yep, Ryan Strain goes next for Josh. Alex, you've got the next 2 picks. You've obviously got your striker position still to fill, 2 wing backs. Who you got?
As Josh said, Nat Phillips is is a good player. So I think I will take him as my next and final centre back.
Okay.
I mean, I was convinced by him and his little stints at his little stints that he had when he was on the pitch at Liverpool, and it was one that you maybe hoped didn't get over the line, looking from a rival's point of view, because he is a really solid player. And I think it kind of came across the same way as the Carter Vickers links came across when he first signed. It was something that I almost thought was just paper talk, as something, the agents to get a few moves maybe going, but this could be something that gets a lot of eyes on him, especially with the Champions League, and I think this could be a positive for both him and Celtic.
Very good.
The other pick, yeah, I think I'm gonna finish my Celtic players, if it's allowed, as a wing back, and I'm just gonna take Greg Taylor. I think he's consistent. I don't think he's a standout, but I do think he's a consistent player, and I think that's quite important to have. He stepped in, and really, I'm sure Josh will agree. It was somebody who took a while to get going at Celtic, and all of a sudden, especially under Ange, he just seemed to come out of his shell and was a different player.
Definitely, I would agree with you. And the inverted fullback role under Ange, he absolutely excelled. And he was certainly one of our best defenders. Like going forward, it was absolutely brilliant. He started to chip in with goals, which we've rarely ever seen from him. So yeah, I think it was really good last season. But I don't know if he's been as good under Brendan. But we'll just have to wait and see how the season transpires.
Josh, you're up next.
I'm torn. I don't know whether to fill my goalkeeping spot or another defender. I think I'm going to take Xander Clark in goals.
Okay.
Just be the. I think no one else has picked a keeper yet. Oh no, tell I. Someone.
Alex has picked Butland.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll take Xander Clark between the sticks.
Very good. I'm up next. I've got a right winger position to fill, two centre back, left back, and goalkeeper. I'll tell you who I'll take that I've been quite taken by so far, and I've heard good reports about him at Aberdeen. The new centre back Rubesic, I'm pretty sure came from Croatia. I think he could be a good partner in with Carter Vickers. I think he could be one that I'm quite taken to, so I'm going to put him in as my centre back. Adam, you've got the next two picks. I think you've used 2 Hearts players, 3 Celtic, 1 Rangers, 1 Hibs.
Yeah, that's right.
Any options?
I'm going to go for Keanu Bacchus and Mark O'Hara, both sitting in front of the back 4.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm really impressed. I think Mark O'Hara's a massive miss for St Mirren. Obviously won their Player of the Year last season. Keanu Bacchus has had a move down south, falling through. So yeah, I know they play with a 3 in there, but I think it's pretty much them 2 and kind of Greg Kiltie further forward. But I like that duo, so I'm going to stick with them in front of my back 4.
No, I like that. I really like the kind of balance. I'm quite surprised actually that they've kind of sat there so long. I'm kind of thinking, should I have taken Bacchus? I quite like the look of him. I'm not a big fan of the options I've got at left back, but I think I'm quite happy with 1 or 2, and I think it's only really Josh that's got a left back to go, so I'm going to keep that to the end. Goalkeeper, I'm quite solid. I'm going to fill my right wing, and I think Kilmarnock's Danny Armstrong is a player who is vastly underrated, and I think he's kicked on massively. I'm going to put him in as my right winger. So I've got Danny Armstrong. Josh?
That's absolutely scuppered my plans. That's
good.
That's exactly I was looking at to put in on the right. I've been very impressed by him this season and last season as well. Brilliant player. He can take a mean free kick as well. So now I'm torn. I think I'm going to fill my left back spot, like you said. I've not done so far, and I'm going to take Stephen Kingsley from Hearts to play at left back. Adam, your thoughts on that?
He's no Alex Cochrane, and I think since that Scotland call-up, Stephen Kingsley's form has gradually declined, mate. I'll be honest, he looks a shadow of his former self, sadly. Breaks my heart, but I'm being honest. He's decent. He's a decent enough player. But
I'll take Stephen Kingsley of last season.
Nice.
That would be.
There's a lot of big players still on the board. Like, I'm not going to say who they are because I won't give away who's still on the board. But A lot of big players, a lot of important players for their side still on the board. So, Alex, you could take 2 of them off the board if you play your cards right here.
Yeah. And first I'm gonna fill my midfield. Raskin's maybe sitting a little deeper here so that Jan Danda can do all the movement.
Okay.
I've watched a lot of Danda. I honestly think, and this is probably not a popular opinion, but I think he's probably the best player outside the Old Firm. I think technically he is a really quality player, and I'm surprised he's still at Ross County. I was surprised he went there in the first place from Swansea, but I was really surprised to see that he didn't make a summer move. You'd think it would be one that Hearts, Hibs, or Aberdeen would at least inquire for, but I really saw him going back down south, and yeah, I'm surprised he's still in Dingwall.
We were linked with him previously, I think, Alex. It's funny that you say that. I think Robbie Nielsen was trying to get him to sign, and I'm disappointed he didn't, because I agree with you. I think he's a top player.
He's pretty special. I mean, even when County aren't playing well, you seem to watch Jan Danda, because I think the difference was Regan Charles Cook. They didn't have that, that playmaker, that somebody who could just do everything they needed. And bringing in Jan Danda was what a piece of business for them, and he only seems to be getting better. That's why I am so surprised that he is still a staggy. But long may it continue in their eyes. And it means I'm left with a wing back on the right and a striker. It's only yourself, Scott, I think, that still needs to take a striker. So I'm gonna fill the right wing back slot. I was gonna go with Danny Armstrong. He has obviously, played on the wing, played in right mid. He played maybe a bit more of a defensive role against us, so that did also scupper my plans. So instead, I'm gonna go with not World Cup Natty Atkinson, but Hearts Natty Atkinson. And purely for his song, I think, because the football ability is maybe another that's dropped off. So
definitely go along with it.
There's a lot of Hearts players, obviously, Adam, that I would go out on a limb and say maybe were at their best last season. Like, I look at kind of obviously bringing them up now, but Kai Rose is still on the board. Like, players like that who we saw them at their best last season, they maybe just haven't kicked on this time round.
Kai Rose is a curious case, because I think Hearts looked at Australia's performances at the World Cup and saw Harry Souttar move for 10-15 million, and decided that we'd want some of that, tied him up on a 5-year deal, and since he's signed said 5-year deal, he's been pretty poor. So that is looking like an absolute disastrous decision, as opposed to a gold mine that Hearts were hoping for.
Josh, you've got 2 picks left. You've got a right midfielder to fill and a centre back. What's the priority?
I've still got one Rangers player left to use, but I'm unsure whether the options they've got out wide I think I've got like 2 or 3 in mind that I could take. For centre back, I've got a couple shouts as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in on the right Blair Spittle of Motherwell. I've been always impressed by him, even when he was at Ross County. He looked like a good player. And I think him on the right, if he, say this was in real life when we were playing, Spittle could become slightly inverted and Ryan Strange just bombs up that right-hand side. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put in Spittle on the right.
Very good. I've got a goalkeeper and a left-back to fill. I think I'm quite happy with the goalkeeper options. I'm going to go for a goalkeeper. I'm going to go for our Motherwell player as well. I'm going to go for Liam Kelly. I always think he's very reliable. Obviously managed to break into the Scotland squad. Had some really good games, particularly against big sides. I think he's a very solid goalkeeper to have in there. And Adam, your final 2 picks. So you've got a goalkeeper and a centre back. Let's finish your team in style.
Try my best. Goalkeeper, I want to take Craig Gordon, but I worry about the injury and the return. Oh, God. The centre-half options, I'll be honest, I'm not overly impressed with, to be fair. But I'm going to go for... I'll go for Gordon between the sticks. Breaks my heart to see him injured, and I don't think Clark's at the same level. Centre-half. Stuart Findlay's quite tempting because I think he started the season pretty well.
Mhm.
Don't think Will Fish is a bad player either. I like Frankie Kent. I'm gonna go for Stuart Findlay though, on that left-hand side.
Stuart
I think-
Findlay rounds off your team.
I think that makes sense. A left-sided centre half. Nawrocki could play the other side with Johnston. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's very good. Yeah, we'll ask you to sell your team to us in a minute as we get the final wee points as you kind of reveal your team and tell us why your team should be voted the winner. My final pick is a left back. I've got to be honest and say the picks aren't really screaming out to me. I've used all my Rangers players, so I couldn't put obviously one of either Barisic or Yilmaz. I'm going to go for a Ross County fullback. I'm going to put in Ben. Is it Ben Purrington?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put him in. I was torn between him and Penrice at Livingston, but I think Purrington could be a good shout in there. Alex, you saw much of Purrington?
Yeah, I would have taken George Harmon over him.
Okay.
I think Harmon's been really good. Purrington is good, yeah. I think, yeah, County's backline isn't something that needs to change really. They have a really strong backline for the level they are, and I think it's something that you used to see was that when Cali were in the top division, Cali used to have a phenomenal first half of the season, and Ross County were always awful. And then it would get to the second half of the season, and Ross County would fly, and Cali would just disappear all of a sudden. So for Ross County now to kind of try and find that consistency, or to find that good start, would make a huge difference, because they won't want to find themselves in a similar position to last season. And in all honesty, I think they're probably going to be looking at least to challenge for top six and maybe sneak into a European position with the likes of, Hibs, Aberdeen, Hearts having a rather poor start to the season. They'll be looking to capitalise on that.
Very good. So that's my 11 players picked. Josh, who rounds out your team? Who's your centre back?
So, partnering Connor Goldson, there's a couple options. Obviously, Adam stole my plans with Stuart Findlay going in there. I'll quite like. I'm not going to pick him, but I'll quite like the look. I think Luis Perez at Livingston.
Okay.
Dominican Republic international. He's done quite well for them so far. But I'm going to go with Will Fish alongside Connor Goldson.
Very good.
He was my other choice between Finlay, so that's a decent consolation, Josh.
Thank you.
I'm surprised no one's taken Dan Casey from Motherwell. I think he's had a good start to the season.
Well. Yeah, I was thinking of him as well.
Yep.
The other one I like the look of Aberdeen was the boy Williams.
Yeah, I was thinking about him, but I don't think he's played many games for Aberdeen so far.
Yeah.
It's like a bit, don't know, but he's played with Nat Phillips when Liverpool were absolutely done in with defensive injuries, and he actually looked all right. So he could do quite well if he gets a run of games.
Nobody's picked a wild card, which I find interesting. It shows you the strength and depth in the Premiership, but also means we might be able one day down the line to do a Championship, League One, League Two draft if this catches on. So yeah, Alex, are you going to round us out with a wild card, or are you going for a Premiership striker? Who rounds out your team?
Yeah, I could. I've got a couple of options if I wanted to in striker. Louis Moult, you get Tony Watt and Brian Graham, but I'm gonna go for. I'm stuck between two here. I like, obviously, I think Miovski is a brilliant player, but I'm gonna go for Adam Lafondra.
Okay.
Because he has the best goals per minute in the Premiership so far this season, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he could be a nifty wee piece of business for Hibernian. So
interesting. Adam Lafondra rounds out the draft. Imagine saying that 2 years ago in the Scottish Premiership draft. Adam Lafondra would round off the Scottish Premiership draft. That's some 44 picks. Just some of the players that haven't been picked. I want to just kind of say them, just kind of go around the positions, just kind of the biggest names I would say that haven't been picked. Kel Roos at Aberdeen didn't get picked in goal. Ross Laidlaw, that was a very interesting. He didn't get picked. Joe Hart as well. Didn't go. Didn't went undrafted. Right backs: Nicky Devlin, Chris Cadden, Stephen O'Donnell, Connor Randall. Just some of the players. Left back: none of the Rangers left backs get picked. Borna Barisic. I would have thought anybody that picked Leela Bada would want Borna Barisic not to be playing against them. So Yilmaz didn't go either. I fancied Penrice, didn't take him. At centre back, we had Ben Davis, the boy Williams, Kai Rolls, Lager Bielka. None of the Hearts centre backs, Adam Kent, Sibic, the guys
Not
like
surprising.
that. None of them, not surprising, you say. No Cammy Devlin either. You surprised at that?
I think Cammy Devlin's best performances have arguably come in Europe. I think we were looking at it as if who could go up to Dingwall and compete on the weekend with a European hangover.
No Cammy Devlin. We didn't have Kieran Dow either, didn't go. Alex Lowry didn't go. McGrath. Centre midfielder, John Lundstrom, David Turnbull, Ryan Jack. None of the Hibs midfielders who I thought was quite surprising. Joe Newell, Dylan Levitt, Josh Campbell, Jake Doyle-Hayes. No Kyle McGuinness, no George Grant. Right midfield, none of the Rangers wingers went. Sima, Matondo, no Yang. Left midfield, no Palmer. Barry Mackay, Matt Kennedy didn't go. Strikers, no Dessers, no Roof. Sam Lammers, no O. Bojan Miovski is a really surprising one that I don't think went. Vente, Anderson, Eamon Brophy, Ayunga. We'll just go around. Just Josh, what was the kind of one player I said there that didn't go that you were surprised with?
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a few, to be honest. I think the Scottish Premiership's a vast league. There's several terrific players in it that have obviously not been picked. I think Bojan Miovski's one that stuck out, but I feel like most of us here played with just one striker. So I feel like that's if someone was in a 4-4-2 or something, you put him up there. A couple more names I would say. I don't even know. There's several you can think of, man. But maybe Lager Bielka at Celtic. You're looking at players like that, but I feel like everyone's team's pretty strong, and I think everyone could be a worthy winner.
Adam, a lot of Hearts players didn't get picked. Who's the kind of one that you were surprised didn't go? Bannigname. I have keep
Berry Beningame.
I keep hosting that pronunciation. There's a few Hearts players not went there. Tagawa I've quite liked since he came in as well.
I think if you watched Benny Beningame play in Norway, you could understand why. And he's never off the treatment table. So are you really going to get Benny Beningame? The best abilities, arguably availability. Cammy Devlin, I'm probably surprised at, maybe from a Hearts perspective. I think Frankie Kent's been our best summer signing at the back. So I was quite tempted to take him. But I think I'm maybe reading too much into this and thinking that Stuart Finlay on that left-hand side is a better option. So, yeah, I think surprise omissions for me are probably Miovski, like Josh says, and Keller Ross in goal, who I was quite tempted to take over Gordon. But that's just my bias creeping in with Shankland and Gordon over Ross and Miovski, I'll be honest.
I mean, Alex, there's some big players not taking. None of the Rangers left backs, obviously. Lammers, Dessers, Roof not been taken. Lundstrom, Jack, a lot of Rangers players not there. Any of them kind of warranted a pick?
Yeah, I think our start to the season, and realistically for a wee while, the team hasn't performed when it's under pressure. Especially the midfield seems to be the one that needed a lot of improvement. And obviously you've taken Cifuentes and I've taken Raskin. So yeah, a lot of players, maybe the likes of Lundstrom are overlooked because they have had a poor last 6 months. And I think the one omission that I was most surprised at was Ross Laidlaw in goals. I think he's a really good goalkeeper, and I probably would have taken him over Xander Clark. Not Craig Gordon of past, but like Adam says, you never know what he would do coming back. So I would maybe say Laidlaw was the surprise for me.
Interesting. So I'm going to give everybody a minute. I'll go second. We'll just go around whoever went first. So Adam, you'll be first. Sell your team to the viewers. Why should you earn a vote? What does your team represent? You've got a nice balance, I think. Let you tell me why we should vote for you.
I've got pace on the flanks to burn. I've got a proven goal scorer in Lawrence Shankland. Todd Cantwell can pick up the wee holes. Keanu Bacchus and Mark O'Hara know each other's game inside out. Enough protection in front of the back four. Inside back four, I think Alex Cochrane and Alistair Johnston are both decent defenders, but can certainly go forward. And Stuart Finlay and Mike Nawrotsky have both been solid. And Craig Gordon if fully fit, is right up there with one of the best goalkeepers in the division. So I think I'm pretty pleased with my selections overall.
Yeah, I think you should be. I think there's a lot of positives to take, and that's if you like Adam's team, then vote for him on the Twitter poll. My team, I've went for a 4-3-3. I'm going to start Liam Kelly. I think he's a very, very useful Premiership goalkeeper. I think he'll keep it very, very simple. I really like my defence, particularly obviously right back Tavernier. He'll bring goals. Carter Vickers, I think, solid as a rock. Nothing's getting, no crosses are getting into the box. Rubicic and Porrington, I think, two players that can develop. I think they're really, really promising in there. I think they'll learn off the experience of Tavernier and Carter Vickers. I think my midfield's beautifully balanced. I think Clarkson can just sit there. Cifuentes can be that kind of bulldog in the middle of the park, and O'Reilly can drive forward. I really like my balance in midfield. Danny Armstrong and Joe Noble in the flanks, I think they'll bring goals. I think they'll bring directness. And Danilo, I think, could be a goal machine up front. So I think there's a nice balance in there. I'm really happy with my team. I think I've got nine teams. I think covered out my 12. I think we're all kind of in that regard. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. I like my balance in my team, and I think you should vote for me because it was my idea. I picked the team, so it was my idea. Josh, sell us your team. Why should we vote for yours?
So before we started, I said I wanted attacking intent in my team, and I wanted a team that's going to get you off your feet when you're at a game, and I feel like I've got that. Kyogo Furuhashi brings a guarantee of about 30 goals a season. He's going to do really well. Out wide, I've got Eli Yuan, who is a very entertaining winger who's just going to drive at the opposition's right back. Midfield, I feel like it's perfectly balanced. Cal McGregor's arguably the best all-round football player in Scotland. He's going to sit and do exactly what he does for Celtic and control the game. Tom Lawrence is a set-piece specialist, and I feel like when he's fully fit, he's an absolutely terrific player as well. And we know what Rio Hatate can bring. He's a very talented midfielder. We know the terrific passes he can pull off. Blair Spittle is equally a goal threat and a very creative asset. Also, he's going to look to cut inside on that right-hand side while Ryan Strain of St Mirren bombs up and overlaps and hangs up crosses in the box for the likes of Kyogo and Eli Yuan running in at the back post. In defence, Will Fish and Connor Goldson are both goal threats going forward when a whip crosses in from corners. Equally, either of them could nod their head on it. Stephen Kingsley can whip a free kick in. We know that as well. He'll probably sit back more in defence while Yuan gets forward. And then in goal, I've got Sander Clark, who can pull off some great saves. So all round, I'm very happy with my team. It's going to get you off your feet. You're going to see goals in this team, and I'm very, very happy with it. And you should just vote for it because it's one of the best teams.
Yeah, no, I think you've sold that pretty well there. I was ready to buy a car off you, just how well you sold that. Alex finishes off. Why should we vote for the 3-4-2-1 that you've went with?
Yeah, so we started with Jack Butland in goals, and we really can build from the back with this team. We're yet to see what Nat Phillips can do, but trust me, over the next 6 months, you'll want to vote for the team with him in it. Robbie Dees has already proved himself quite a lot, and John Suter is a strong defender. Natty Atkinson is in there, so you're always going to have a good time at the game because you're going to be able to sing that song. Like Duke, you're going to be able to have that chant as well. But Duke and Abada a bit further forward, they're going to bring some really good pace into the team and a lot of attacking intent. And having Natty Atkinson and Greg Taylor as wing backs will allow them to drive forward and also drive inside. So there's a lot of teams that aren't going to want this attack coming at them. And when you've got those pacey wingers, you don't need pace in your striker. So LaFondra's just there to tap the goal in every single time, tap the ball past whatever goalkeeper he's up against. And we've got a very solid midfield with Nico Raskin and Jan Danda going forwards and backwards. The work rate is absolutely there.
Very good.
I think you should pick the team because that is the team that will work for you. That is a team that will finish every training session at putting in 110%.
Very good. You've sold it very well. All very good selling points there. And it's going to be up to the turn of the viewer. You've got this will go out obviously on Friday night. So Saturday morning when you're waking up for your weekend, you're going to have the chance to vote all weekend. The vote will close on Sunday and we'll reveal the winner on Monday. I've had a lot of fun doing this. I think it's been a very good idea. Thanks to the guys. I'll get thanks as well. Martin Ramsey was a guy obviously implemented this idea as well. He a friend of the show. He's obviously took it as well for his channel, so very good for him. Thanks for that. And yeah, I think it's something that I would certainly really like to do going forward. It's been a pleasure to have the guys on. First of all, Josh McCafferty.
Yeah, brilliant. It's actually very good fun. I like picking a team. Obviously, getting our knowledge into the Scottish game and putting it on show. So yeah, very pleased with my team in the end and happy to be on.
Brilliant. Pleasure, mate. Adam Kennedy, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Pleasure.
Thanks very much for having me, Scott. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and look forward to hearing from you on Monday. Cheers.
Brilliant. Yep, you might have a wee winners medal coming. And to Alex Banks, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure to be on your first show.
Oh yeah, I've absolutely enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed speaking to yourself, Josh and Adam. So it's been a good battle, and yeah, I've even enjoyed it when people have been stealing my picks.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure, folks. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Please vote in our poll, and we'll see you all soon for the next episode. We'll see. Thanks very much, guys.